sit back.
Crack open your favorite brew, pour it in a frosty mug.
Hey, and join us for the next hour or so.
I'm Keith Davidson.
And I'm Papa Joey Stay.
And we're your hosts for The Truth About Beer and...
Yeah, we're a podcast and YouTube channel where we get to talk about all the crap that we're interested in.
And best of all, you get to do it while sharing a brew amongst friends.
Yes, and we're so excited about today's episode.
Yes, we are. We really hope you enjoy it.
Cheers.
Cheers.
Live from Studio K, located somewhere in Apache Junction, this is breaking news. It is no surprise that the ever-popular podcast and YouTube program, The Truth About Beer and, can now be streamed from 8 different platforms. You can find them on YouTube, Stitcher, iHeartRadio, Spotify, Pandora, Apple Podcast, Google Play, and TuneIn. They are also showing off their new line of apparel created by BS Designs and may be purchased from their website, www.ttabeerand.com. Or if you want to type out the entire thing, it's www.thetruthaboutbeerand.com. You can, but I don't know why you would. Please subscribe to our YouTube page and click on the notification bell to be notified whenever a new episode is released. To suggest episode ideas, tell them how they're doing, or just have a comment, you may email them at thetruthaboutbeerand@gmail.com. Sorry, there are no shortcuts for that. They may also be found on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. This has been breaking news live from Studio K, somewhere in Apache Junction. Cheers and good night.
Apache Junction, Arizona. Only minutes from the famous Superstition Mountains lies a little bar restaurant called Superstition Lucky Skies. It has been written, the Superstition Skies restaurant and bar stands as a testament to the romantic history of Apache Junction. Back when cowboys, ladies of the evening, and movie stars were a common sight. Established back in the 1950s, it was a bordello for a few years, then it was a bar, and then a restaurant with a swimming pool. Yes, it had a swimming pool. When Apache Land was filming movies like Charo and the Death Valley days, many of the movie stars ate at the Superstition Skies. Ronald Reagan, Kenny Rogers, Marty Robbins, and Elvis, just to name a few. It was stated that Elvis came in every night for dinner and sat in his favorite booth in the corner. Over the years, many famous people have passed through the doors. Superstition Skies is one of the last real honky-tonks, where it is not uncommon to see several horses tied up in the hitching rail, and cowboys with chaps and spurs at the bar. The owner works very hard to maintain this little patch of Apache Junction history. Some say the stars never left. Some say it's haunted. Join us in our Paranormal Adventure 1.2 as we once again joined with Vinny and his crew to investigate the Superstition Skies.
Well, we'll probably do a few toasts throughout this episode.
Yes.
But we're going to toast here because we're in a very special booth.
Yes, we are.
At Superstition Lucky Skies for our Paranormal Adventure
1.2.
Wow.
I was so excited to write that down.
Yeah. So we've got a few things coming your way, and we're going to toast to it right now.
Episode
11?
11.
Yep. Cheers.
Oh, you're going to drink.
I hope so.
So,
I like to drink it while it's cold.
Yeah, I do too. It's
It
kind of
helps.
nice. That way it's not skunky. So, kind of an interesting fact about our booth here that we're sitting in.
Yeah.
Because it's the only booth in the place.
And there's a reason they kept this only booth.
Yes. So back in the day, we're in Apache Junction, Arizona, for those of you that aren't local. And they had a place here called Apache Land back in the day. And they used to film a lot of the old westerns here. And I believe it's a museum now. Can't you still go visit it?
Well, the original, it burnt down,
Right.
except for 2 of the buildings. And I've never been there where
you-
it was. So
You pass by, what it hasn't always been on the way out to the lake there when you go down.
yeah, well, like where Goldfields is.
yeah.
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 So I don't know if like that they say the church didn't burn down that was in
Right.
there, so that's why I was wondering if that church they have at Goldfields is from there.
The one across the street, not where the mining town is, but the white one that's across the street.
Oh, okay.
That's part of Apache land.
Okay.
So I
So
think
I'm
it's
learning something. I've only lived here for 36 years now.
I only noticed it the last time I went out to the lake because I'm driving, and
Yeah.
I wasn't driving, so I was looking out the window, and I'm like, "Wait a sec, that says Apache land. That's where it is." So
Wow. I
Yeah.
haven't driven out that way in quite a while. Last time we went out there was to Goldfields.
yeah, that was a while ago, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah. But-
Great place to take pictures, by the way.
Yes, yeah, beautiful because you got the superstitions in the background
yeah.
too, so it's a beautiful backdrop.
Yeah.
But we have the superstitions here now. I think that's what that is, right?
Well,
It's supposed to be.
if you draw them really, paint them very quickly.
That's what they look like.
We're not making fun of this by,
No.
by any means.
No.
Because this is a really amazing mural that's throughout here. I know that you can only see a little bit here, but I believe
I took some video of
took
it.
some
so
video
we'll
of the
upload
whole
that, yeah.
thing, so you can see it's painted by an artist.
I'm going
to butcher the name.
we
really
butcher
bad.
every name we try, so it,
Buffnet. And I'm sorry if you are here.
God rest his soul.
I mean, I don't know how it's to say Buffnet. Netty? Platon.
I'll give you that. It's a hell of a lot better than I would have done.
And I'm going to read you a little bit about him because he's known as one of the world's fastest painters. Painted the band. This is the banquet room in one day. And once you see the video of how massive
It's huge.
this mural is, I can imagine painting my house. If I had a room this size and I was painting it one color, it would take me more than a
Take me a week.
Yeah. The interesting about Mr. Platon or Platon.
Platon.
He was in Ripley's Believe It or Not.
Mm.
And that's incredible.
He painted that in a day, believe it or not.
Yes. This is believed to be one of the last projects or big projects that he undertook.
So they do say that they believe that he is here in spirit. He passed away. Deb, the owner, was saying, I think back in the 1980s is when he passed away. So
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of his energy in these murals. So
very much so. So what was I was going somewhere with the whole booth
we
thing.
were talking about the booth because we didn't
Yeah.
talk about anybody that had sat in this booth in the day.
Well, he wasn't that popular. You might not have heard of him before.
Probably
Somebody
not.
by the name of Elvis Presley.
Costello?
No, Elvis Presley, not Costello.
Oh, no.
Yeah, he wasn't anybody important. So he shot the movie Charo, I think it was.
Charo, it says.
Out at Apache Land, and he would frequent here for beverages, and I believe he may have entertained here once or
I've
twice.
heard that. Yeah. Not as a paid artist, but just for
Hanging
his
out.
little private party, you know.
That would have been exciting.
So, yeah.
They also had a picture, we'll put it up, I guess John Wayne had visited here as well.
John Wayne, and I see on here that Kenny Rogers has been here, and Marty Robbins. Of course, Marty Robbins is native to Arizona.
Yes. Yep.
So that's not real surprising, but that's very cool just the same.
Yeah. Yeah. So for those of you who've never been to Superstition Lucky Skies, you have to take a trip out here. They got really good food.
Yes.
Chicken wings are great.
Oh, the chicken wings.
And they got nice cold beer, which is
Yeah,
nice.
in fact, when we play here, we sing about the chicken wings.
Yes, we do. All the time.
You might know the song is Silver Wings, but
We go chicken wings.
yeah, well,
We like that. So it's kind of a special place for us too, because it was kind of the starting point for Rattlecat Junction. I mean, we played here from 2013 on.
yeah.
So And now the band from Rattlecat Junction is also playing here.
Be here in a few weeks.
Couple of weeks. So it's kind of special for us.
Wow. So what are we doing here tonight anyway?
So we're here with Vinny and his crew again. We got to love these guys. You know,
we do.
We have so much fun when we're with them. So, there's a lot of history here, and it is believed by many that work here and a lot of the patrons from the past that it is haunted.
And we're going to find that out.
We're going to find that out. And we're taking you along for this adventure.
Yeah, it's going to be a lot of fun.
Here we are, episode 11.
This goes all the way to 11?
I think we're on 11, aren't we?
We are.
I lost track.
My amp only goes to 10.
What's gonna happen?
This episode goes to 11.
What's gonna happen when we hit episode 100?
Wow, did you see that fly?
I saw the fly. He's gonna annoy me this whole.
It's going to turn
podcast.
into an episode of Breaking Bad. We've got to get that fly. Can't have the contamination.
Right? Exactly.
I don't want it to get in my beer. Let's toast before it gets into our beer.
Toasting to episode 11, The Truth About Beer and
Superstition Lucky Skies.
Lucky Skies, yes.
And a little bit of history and yeah.
You know, I'm curious about something because we really can't find a lot of history on Superstition Lucky Skies. But my question is, has it always been called Superstition Skies? Because that's what it was prior to Lucky Skies, but was it always Superstition Skies?
It kind of sounded like it from other people's, the few that have written about it.
Right.
You know, it always sounded like it was Superstition Skies. And, yeah, it's a shame that there isn't a lot more, you know, in their libraries there in Apache Junction, because it really is a historic building and a great history. It's kind of lost. So I'm hoping that by us doing this little episode,
it'll bring some more information to light.
Yeah, maybe we can find some people that has more pictures and stories and that can be compiled.
Well, from what you read or what you can read about it, it dates back to the 1950s, I guess, when the film industry was kind of big here in Arizona, when they had when Apache Land was open, and they filmed a lot of westerns out here. So I think that was kind of the place to go after a day of shooting, or just for the locals, the local honky tonk too. So. And as a matter of fact, the opening video you guys saw, we were sitting in Elvis's booth.
You don't think very much.
Which is kind of neat that they preserve that little piece of history there.
Yeah. It felt like a little bit of nostalgia.
Yeah.
Sitting in that booth. And the mural that's all the way around that room.
Yes.
Very interesting.
Painted by a famous artist, Mr. Burnett Playton. I'm going to say Burnett. It could be Burnett. It's possible.
But he's the fastest painter.
He was
one of the fastest painters.
Fastest artist is what they labeled him.
Artist.
Yeah, and he was on Ripley's Believe It or Not. He was born in 1910, and he died in 1991.
So it was only 81.
Yeah, lived a good life.
Yeah. Probably painted a lot of murals in his day.
I think we're going to post a video. I think I took a video with a mural. I'm pretty sure I went around with the camera.
I do remember you doing that.
Yeah. So I think we could post that on this episode too. That'd be good.
Yeah, so we'll be breaking in to this little chat that we're having to bring you some of the interviews we did there at Skies. We'll just call it Skies for now.
We'll call it, for short.
Yeah. It's always been Skies to us.
Yes.
The main reason that we originally went there was to do some ghost hunting.
Yes.
For this episode. And so, of course, we had Vinny and his crew with us, and even Wendy from Tucson came up.
Yeah, I was really happy to see that she came all the way down here, but I guess her sister lives here. That's what she was saying.
So she lived pretty close to the Skies, I guess.
Yeah, so that was nice. It was nice to have the whole group kind of together again, and it was kind of fun.
Yeah, it was fun. And I really would like to have lots of evidence to to present in this episode. We had some cool things happen, but nothing that was caught on camera.
Yeah.
So
No, and in fact, it kind of had an oddity that happened, and I don't think we caught this on film anywhere, but we had something pop up on the SLS camera, and when we went back to watch the recording, it was gone.
Yeah.
So it was kind of strange.
Yeah, so that was Karen and Pam, I believe.
Yes. Yep. And they were back in that corner.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so Pam was watching the SLS, and Karen was standing kind of back in that corner.
Yep.
And then Pam told her, says, "Hey, you got a visitor there with you." And so Karen came back and looked at the SLS camera that was recording and saw the stick figure there.
Mm-hmm.
And it was recording, and then the stick figure went away. Well, they rewound the recording to play it back, and nothing was there.
Well, I can tell you something too that was kind of funny is, we used the same camera that night to film when we were there. And when I was watching back our video, the one we did in the booth, the video actually jumps around a little bit. I don't know.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, it's kind of
Well, there were some things happening in that booth. So maybe we'll come back to that after you see
Deb's interview.
the other one.
Oh, Jessica?
Jessica, there we go.
Okay.
Sorry.
So-
I get tongue-tied really easily. I'm sure everybody's aware of that by now. If you've been with us through 11 episodes.
One thing interesting I do want to bring up, though, speaking, because we're talking about Burnett Playton. When you and I got done filming our little segment, I went over to say hi to Karen and Wendy. Speaking about getting tongue-tied. So I went over to say hi to them, and I walk over, and they're talking to each other, and I hear Karen say, "I'm getting a B." And I'm like, okay. I just kind of was like,
I'm scared of bees.
Well, the funny thing is then Wendy goes, "Well, I'm getting a P." And it didn't hit me right away. I was walking by them. I'm like, wait a second. I went back and I looked at the brochure, and I'm like, that's the initials of the artist.
Yeah, that's
So I thought
cool.
that was kind of funny.
Especially because that's where they were at, right?
Right. They were right over in that area.
That area. And that was one of the stories that we heard from regulars or whatever, that being that was one of the artist's last paintings or projects or whatever, that they kind of feel that his spirit lingers.
Yeah. And I guess he painted that mural in a day.
That's amazing. Yeah.
Yeah, that was kind of crazy.
So I wonder if he carries like paintbrushes in a holster or something.
Like Wyatt Earp drawing that stuff, That'd be fascinating. I tried to find the Ripley's Believe It or Not episode, but I couldn't find it. So it's probably not floating out there on the internet anywhere. But I thought that'd be kind of cool to see that. But
yeah, what year was that he painted that mural?
I don't know. I don't have that information. Might have to find that out.
Yeah. You say he died in 80?
91 is when they
91.
were saying he died. Yeah, he was born 1910. I thought she said it was in the 80s that he painted it, but...
Oh, so that was long after the Elvis.
I believe so,
days and
yeah.
all
I
that.
believe so.
Okay.
Yeah. Yep. Don't quote me on that because I could be totally off base. It's been a lot of times.
We're never off base on anything, are we?
It's not in the script, damn it.
Yeah, the only notes we have here in front of us are like a rough outline of what we're going to talk about. So
first two words say fake it. No, just kidding. So I think we should let's show our interview with Deb, who is now the current owner of Superstition Lucky Skies. Since we've started going there, we've seen a couple different owners, and but I think I really like what Deb has done with the place so far and what she plans to do with the place. I think she really wants to try to keep the place alive and keep part of that Apache Junction history going. And I think we need to support her on that.
absolutely.
So yeah, check out our interview with Deb. Yeah, we're here with Deb. She's the owner of Superstition Lucky Skies now.
Yes.
And like I was talking about before, we've been playing here with our band since 2013, and we've heard a lot of stories over the years about the facility being haunted, a lot of paranormal activity. So you had mentioned earlier that you've had some activity yourself. So you want to share that with us?
Right. Yeah. I actually started coming to Skies in the 90s.
Oh, okay.
I was a horseback rider. So I would ride my horses up here back in those days when the place was packed.
Mm-hmm.
And I loved it. So in March, I decided to buy it and see if we could bring the history back to AJ and preserve the building.
Right.
So we kind of just opened up the mural in here that was hand painted by a famous artist with a house paintbrush, actually. And he painted this in one day.
In one day.
In one day.
Wow.
And then Elvis was here and he filmed Charo. And this happened to be his booth that we're sitting in right now. So it's kind of fun. I have felt some of the activity in here since I bought it in March. Some shadow movement, some feeling of somebody behind me or in the room when there's no one else in here.
Right.
I've also heard and seen a shadow of what appears to be an old Indian with more Western clothes on than Indian type dress.
Right.
He wears a cowboy hat and a feather in his hat, and he's grumpy.
Oh, really?
Yeah, he's a grumpy guy. He's not real fond of women. He's old school. And he shows it. He kind of lets you know it.
Is he physical in any way? Does he?
No, and he's not violent.
Right.
There's no violence in here. I don't feel any violence in here at all. I think somebody says it's an old customer that was in here all the time. And when he passed, he kept coming here.
Right.
So I don't know if he's here permanently or if he's visiting occasionally or what the story is. But
so when you say he's angry, what gives you that inclination?
Well, he's not so angry as he is grumpy.
Oh, grumpy. Right.
Yeah. He's just kind of a snarly guy.
Okay.
He's kind of growly and old school.
So do you hear that? Do you hear growls? Do you hear?
I hear the it's not really negative. It's just kind of, like a grumpy voice.
Okay.
Once in a while.
Okay.
But nothing that scares me in any way. So this place has been here since 50s, I think.
Yeah.
50s or early 60s. So.
And it was a big honky tonk back in the day.
It was. Well, I hear it was a brothel.
Yeah.
And it was a motel, and actually, the floor out here in the dining room there was a pool.
Really?
Yeah, there was a built-in pool out here.
Didn't know
where
that.
My dining room is now.
That's interesting.
So the place has been added on to probably 5 or 6 times over the years.
So your staff calls it the apartments that are attached here. Was that part of the brothel at one time, or was?
I'm not really sure what the history on the brothel was. I've heard that the second-story building was used as a bar and kind of an after hours kind of thing.
Yeah.
But I don't exactly know what was done up there.
Right.
There's plumbing up there. There's electricity. But the 2-story building itself, nobody can habitate. So.
Right.
I'm trying to get a permit on it and see if I can at least get
do
it open.
Do something with it, yeah.
Yeah, hoping it for an office or something.
Yeah.
So
that would be good.
Yeah.
That'd be good. So have you heard anything from the staff? Has the staff ever reported anything to you? Yeah.
Yeah, my staff does all the time.
Yeah.
Especially the lady that comes in and cleans for me in the morning.
Okay.
She's in here by herself, and she comes in early, about 6:30 in the morning, and she feels a lot of the vibes in here from it. She's constantly looking behind her, or she just kind of creeps her out. But she doesn't seem to be real afraid of it,
right?
Other than it just seems like somebody else is in the room with her,
right?
So,
well, people come here to have a good time, even in death, they come here to have a good time.
That's right, and I hope they still are having a good time.
Exactly. Welcome all the customers.
I don't want them mad.
Yeah, that's for sure. That's for sure.
Yeah, the last thing you want to do is piss off a ghost.
Yeah, no kidding, exactly. Yeah, we've dealt with some of the investigations we've done. We've had some negative feelings.
Have you?
Yeah.
Do you feel any in here?
I don't, and I'm usually the last one that feels anything. It's part of our other crew. I know, Joey's experienced some.
Yeah.
My girlfriend Lindsay, she's been touched a couple of times. She's felt the negative vibes because we did the jail in Gila County, and then we did the.
There's got to be a lot of ghosts there.
There is, yeah.
Not for mean ones too, probably.
Yeah. And there was definitely some negative vibes there. And then we did the tuberculosis hospital in Oracle.
Oh, I bet that too.
So that was interesting.
Oh,
too.
I bet.
So.
I bet. No, I just have a lot of drunk ghosts in here.
Drunk happy ghosts. That's a good thing.
Yeah, they've had a few too many.
Yeah. Well, that's cool. Well, are there any other stories, or is that the biggest one?
I think that's probably the biggest one. Yeah.
Okay.
I have cooks and stuff that come in and say, well, God, it feels weird in here.
Yeah.
Or sometimes it'll get a little musty.
Okay.
Yeah.
Especially
in this room here. And that's one of the reasons this room used to be closed in.
I remember that. Yeah. Yep.
And that's one of the reasons I took the walls out was to open up the room and take some of the musty out of it.
Mm-hmm.
And it seems to be better since it's opened up.
Yeah, in all the years we played here, I was always told that Elvis's booth is in here, and I've never come back in this room. So it's the first time I'm actually seeing the booth.
Yeah,
firsthand, so it's kind of neat.
Which made it nice opening it up too, because now the mural shows and people can enjoy the room.
Yeah, it's a beautiful painting. It really is.
Yeah, it's pretty awesome.
Definitely depicts the area. For sure.
Yeah, it does. So
well, cool.
So I'm just trying to bring the locals back and have people enjoy dancing and having a good time again.
Well, we definitely wish you luck with that, and we're glad that you're keeping the history alive, and we definitely will get the word out there to try to get people out here.
Well, I appreciate that.
All right.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Okay.
Appreciate it.
Bye-bye.
I like to say that, all the years that we played there as Rattlecat Junction, that back room was always, there was a wall that separated it from the rest of the bar, and I'd never seen it,
I never did either.
In all the years we were there. And that's really a shame, because that's where all the history really is in that bar. So.
I think it was kept more as a storage room than anything, if I remember correctly. I don't think they did much in there at all. It was just kind of closed off.
Just trying to preserve it as a shrine to Elvis or something.
Yes, I don't know. Or maybe somebody felt his ghost and they didn't want to upset him, I don't know. It's possible. So, no, I think it's great that Deb did that. I think it's, and I think she, just judging by what she said in her interview, she, not only does she own the place, but she's been going to the Skies since the 1990s. So she's been a patron there for a long time. So I think it's good. It's good to want to preserve that history. So I found, going back to what we said at the beginning with Wendy and Karen with the SLS camera over back in that corner.
Yeah.
The Indian that Deb talked about, she did mention in a conversation between her and myself, and I think it was Wendy, that that corner was where she would feel that presence over in that back corner. So that may have been him. On the SLS camera. It's too bad that it didn't hold. So,
yeah.
But they believe that he might have been a customer at the Skies. So, and he just couldn't leave.
Such a fine place.
Still having a good time, even in death. But hey, you can't. There's nothing wrong with a happy ghost.
No, like she said, you don't want an angry ghost.
You don't want to piss off a ghost. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, but apparently, according to what's his name, Richard? Yes, Richard. Got an email from Richard that he was working on a cooler in the kitchen area. Says he was on his back when a cauldron came flying off the wall over his head. Someone wanted his attention.
Yeah, apparently so.
That was his story.
Yeah, we tried to find some locals who have frequented the skies to try to get some more information on. There's just not a lot of history, recorded about the place. And like you said, that's a shame because there's a lot of history there. There has to be.
And that's the thing, there are people out there that know that history and probably have some great pictures that they've taken there over the years. But would love to find them.
Yeah, I mean, if you know somebody that has pictures, please have them come forward with them, because to be able to preserve the history there would be incredible. That's a huge part of Apache Junction. I mean, it was pretty cool when you walked down that back hallway where that led back to the backyard area, that back patio. That had the picture of John Wayne up there on the wall, which was kind of neat. Kind of neat to see that.
Yeah, that'd be really cool to get some stories from some of the patrons, if they're still alive.
Yeah.
That may have been patrons there during that time when during the Hollywood heyday.
That'd be interesting. That'd be really cool to hear some of those stories.
Yeah.
You think about it too, because, and I didn't really take notice until the one night, our first time back there playing is when they pointed out the cougar on the mountain, the shadow.
That was very cool. Yeah.
I didn't realize how pretty of a view it was. I hear the train a coming. No, it's just such a nice view, and there is so much folklore, I guess you would say, surrounding Superstition Mountain. Between the gold that's buried up there. Apparently,
it's supposed to be one of the most haunted mountain ranges in all America.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
It's up there. I didn't know that. Huh.
Yeah,
learned something new.
Yeah, I mean that was a lot of bloodshed. The Apache Wars and where the cavalry came in, and there's some wicked history.
A lot of energy there, huh?
Yeah,
a lot of energy. Well, not only that, but you got right down the road from there, you have Goldfield.
Right.
Well, it was a big mining town, so.
Yeah. And the interesting thing, and I don't know if you knew this or not, but they didn't mine gold out of Goldfield.
What they do, silver?
Silver.
What's the silver?
Yeah. So I heard that on another story.
So where did the legend of the gold in Superstitions come
what
from?
I kind of heard is that the gold actually came from the other side of Phoenix, Wickenburg area, that, what's it called? Where they just had Paracon.
Yeah. I have no idea.
That place, which is another one we want to go. The Vulture Mine.
Well, thank you. Okay. I knew it started with a V. I just couldn't place the name.
And so it was his little mother lode of gold that he took out of there, and then supposedly
wanted to hide it
and chose the Superstitions.
It's a good place to hide it, considering there's been rumors that people don't return when they hike up there. So it's a great place. So there's a lot of, I'd say there's a lot of paranormal history in Apache Junction itself. So it wouldn't surprise me if it's, over there, even Apache land. Can you imagine what kind of?
Yeah, that's all really part of Apache Junction, that whole area in there. So yeah, when I first moved to Arizona, that's where I lived for the first year. It was in AJ.
Oh, really? I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
And back then it was like the population of Apache Junction was about 14 to 15,000 during the summer.
Right.
And then grew to 75 to 80,000 in the wintertime.
In the wintertime, yeah. That's all the snowbirds come into town.
Yeah. And I can only imagine that it's probably quadrupled that.
Well, I've known quite a few people that have built houses out there, and they live out there now. And that's the funny thing about Phoenix. You look at Phoenix as a whole, and it's a huge valley. I mean, and I think that's part of the reason why maybe the Superstition Skies isn't as popular as it should be because people don't know about it, because it really is out there. I mean, you know, if you live in Phoenix or you live in Surprise or Glendale, you know, it's a hike to come out that way.
Yeah. So through the years, it's just become a neighborhood bar, because back in the day, it was a destination.
Right.
And now with the urban sprawl.
Well, now, I mean, you do have destinations. You have the lake. You have different places people can go. But the problem is
that's off the beaten path.
I was going to say, forgive the cliche, off the beaten path, but it really is. I mean, you know, if you're not Googling it, you're just not going to find it by happenstance. You know what I mean? It's you gotta say, where the hell am I going here? But yeah, but I think
definitely worth the effort to get there.
Absolutely.
And the food is very fine. Those wings.
Chicken wings. We love the chicken wings.
Cooked to perfection.
Yes. Everything's good. I've had their hamburgers there, been really good. Their beer's cold. It's just a good place. It's a friendly place. Staff there are really nice. You know, the music, they have a lot of talent that comes through there.
Yeah.
So, you know, it's a great destination. I think definitely needs to be put back on the map.
Yeah.
But that's the thing. That's kind of where I was going is, you know, I mean, there's a lot of little towns in Phoenix that people don't know about because they're so far out there, because it is such a big value. take Vegas, for example. Okay. Vegas is a very small valley. You can go from one side to the other in 30 minutes, you know? So you can make a day out of it and see the whole valley. So,
yeah. Now with traffic, it's about a 2-hour drive from Apache Junction to
Surprise.
Buckeye.
Yeah, Buckeye. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
But I think too, you know, I've always said I think Arizona is probably one of, I'm not going to say but one of the prettiest states on the West Coast, you know, as far as desert goes. And I think that's why it was such a big attraction for the Westerns out here, because it had such a pretty backdrop to it. You know, I know Utah was big with Westerns, but you know, Arizona was another favorite destination.
Where else are you going to find a saguaro?
Right, exactly. A true sorrow, exactly. Yeah.
Not those little tiny ones you see in the movies. Like
stage play.
Yeah, when I first moved out here, I had saguaro shock. Or saguaro shock.
Saguaro.
And I go, wow, those things are freaking huge.
Well, have you ever seen the videos that fall on people's houses and cave in their roofs and stuff?
Yeah, they get 20, 30 feet.
Oh, they're huge. Yeah, it's crazy. I've seen some real big, especially in Scottsdale. You go up to Scottsdale, they're huge in Scottsdale.
And they're protected.
They are protected, yes. You know, the damn birds would stop hauling them out.
Yeah. Well, that was the one story I heard when I first moved here back in the 80s was that, you know, I don't know if it's an urban legend or not, but it was about a guy that was out in the desert with a shotgun and decided he was going to unload it on a saguaro, and it fell over on him and killed him.
Whoops.
Yeah, that's funny, isn't it? No, I'm sorry. No.
You're cheering for the guy now. You're supposed to be laughing at him. I like that.
Yeah, okay.
We haven't used it in a while, so we're kind of rusty.
I better drink.
So another interesting fact that Deb brought up in her interview is in the dining room that at one time there was a swimming pool.
Oh, yeah. So that was when it was a hotel or a motel or whatever.
Yeah, it must have been, either that or it was a true, was it a true dive bar? See, I remember the button that time.
It's so good.
All right, shut up.
That was more of a...
Right, that's true.
Or
epic fail.
Oh, now we're at it. That fly.
Somebody kill the fly, will we?
He's contaminating the space.
That's why we need a cat. You know, a cat would kill a fly.
Really?
Yeah, they chase flies all the time. Now I feel itchy. I see them
You're allergic
around.
to cats?
No, I hate flies.
Just talking about a cat.
So our second interview was with Jessica, and she's pretty new to Lucky Skies. She worked over at Lucky's, which is another bar down the road.
Lucky Strikes, that was called?
Lucky Strikes, yeah, I believe that's called. So she's pretty new to the Skies, and she's had some experiences while she's been employed there, and she was nice enough to share them with us.
Well, gosh, let's check it out.
Let's check it out. Oh, welcome, Jess.
Thank you.
Thanks for sharing your stories with us here.
Oh, yeah, of course.
So how long have you worked for the Skies?
So I've worked at Lucky Strikes. It'll be a year in November, and I started here about like 7 months ago.
Okay.
At Superstition Skies, and we just changed it to
Superstition Lucky Skies.
Yes.
Yeah.
We just changed the name.
That's cool.
Mhm.
Have you been here prior to that, or just when you started working
No, I
here?
had never been here before. So my first time ever being here was when I started working here.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So what was your first experience? Well, first of all, let me backtrack on that a little bit. Did you hear that the place was haunted before you had your experience?
So the first day I read obviously the front of the menu that we have.
Right.
I had never heard anything. I'm not from here. I'm from Illinois. So and especially not from Apache Junction. I live in Mesa. So I never heard anything really before until I started working here, and I read that, and then I started hearing the stories of people hearing stuff and how long they've been open, and all the somewhat famous people that have been here, and all the history and what it was. It was a bordello before.
Right.
So I started hearing all that, and then it just started all piecing together.
So all right, so tell us about your very first experience then.
So my first day here, I came in, obviously it's a very massive building.
Mm-hmm.
There's all these different rooms. So I don't even think until my second or third week I actually was able to see everything.
Right.
Because then you'll go into the back, and that's what I wanted to show you guys. There's this one room in the back by the kitchen that's it's so creepy because it's just this little storage closet.
Uh-huh.
And you start to think what was in here, but this place is just so big, and obviously people can't go upstairs, but there's all this history and stuff that was up there, and all the history that's in here, and it's just very interesting to me. And after I read that, I was more intrigued because I had no idea about any of this until I actually read that. So it was really fun, interesting.
That's cool.
Mm-hmm.
So what was your first encounter?
Okay, so it's really creepy to me because I'll be here, I'm the last person here, I lock up and I leave, and towards the end of the night when I'm here alone, I'll hear stuff above the bar, the apartment's above the back office, and then above the bar there's nothing up there, but I always hear these kind of knocks or something walking up there.
Okay.
And you can't really explain it. Some people are oh, it's just the wind, or maybe it's an animal, but I'm every single time that I'm working at night I hear this stuff. And then when I always get nervous walking in the back kitchen, or walking up the back by the office, and then I always make someone come in with me, because after my first 2 times here I just kept hearing stuff, so I was really scared, so I'd always make a friend come in.
Right.
And walk me to my car because I would get really scared. And it is really windy and stuff out here, so.
Right.
But it sounds a little bit more than that.
Well, when we were sitting at the bar earlier, we heard that.
We did.
So is it like that what you hear, or is it different?
That was the loudest one. I think that might have been more the wind, but when I'm here by myself, it's more kind of footsteps.
Okay.
That sounded more like wind, something hitting the roof.
Right.
But when I'm here alone, yeah, it sounds more like someone walking up there. It would be if there was an apartment above you.
Gotcha. But the apartment's very far away from
it's
where the
very
bar
far
is.
away.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Okay. Have you ever seen anything?
I haven't personally seen anything. No, but I just get kind of I have never been that person to be really into spirits or ghosts and stuff, but I just get this kind of weird feeling when I'm here, and this weird presence of something else that's here.
Do you feel like something's watching you? Do you feel like something's
I don't feel like
next
they're
to you?
watching me. I feel like there's somebody else here. I always feel I'll have to check before I close up and lock that there's no one in each room.
Right.
Because I always just feel like there's somebody in here. It never
Gotcha.
feels completely silent. It's never completely there's nobody there. But
the thing came undone.
yeah, sorry.
That's all right.
But yeah, it's never you never feel like you're completely alone.
Right.
I always feel like there's just something or somebody back there. There's so many, like I said, so many different rooms and so many different things that you can never fully check.
Do you work pretty much every day, or?
No, I only work here on Thursday nights. I work at Lucky Strikes our owner Deb owns both of them.
Right.
And so I would just told her I would help her out like a little bit here and there. So I work just Thursday nights here.
So is it every Thursday you experience it? The same thing,
yes.
really?
Yeah, I usually have like a certain person that will come in to walk me to my car like every night around like 11 or 11:30. But yeah, it's every Thursday, and it's just like
not the same times, though, right? Does it happen
no,
the same?
it's
So
all
it's
different times. Yeah, it's never usually when like there's a lot of people here. Maybe it's just because of the noise or the music.
Right.
But it's usually when I'm here by myself. It gets like really windy outside, and I know it's Arizona, but it gets really windy and very like, I don't want to say creepy, but very like eerie.
Yeah, well, it's an older building too.
Yeah, I
so,
know that,
yeah.
but yeah, I've only heard the like what I say the footsteps upstairs like a few times.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So, you're gonna hang out with us tonight while we do the investigation?
Yes, I'm gonna be here. I'm gonna close up for you guys.
Okay.
Yes.
Well, hopefully we'll get something.
Okay, I know. I'm hoping. Are you guys gonna do like the little what is it, the radar thing?
The meters, and we got all kinds of toys that we're gonna play with tonight. So
I know. I'm excited.
It'll be fun.
This is very interesting. I've never done anything like this before, so
No, it'll be your first.
I'm excited for someone to hear something.
We hope we find something.
Oh, me too.
It's
And then
the
I'll
whole
show
idea.
you guys the back rooms, like the ones that I'm talking about.
Yeah, we'll take our cameras back there and see.
Yes, they're very creepy.
All right.
Okay, thank you so
Cool.
much.
Thank you. All right, so that was Jessica.
It sure was.
Sure was.
And
she was she was very excited about that night. She had a lot of fun that night.
She did.
Yeah, it was cool.
And hopefully we got some of the, we'll call it the Elvis booth session.
Yes. Yeah, we'll show you some of that.
Yeah, that she was involved in, and got some things come through the spirit box that seemed to like her being there.
Right.
She left for a little bit, and the action went away.
It disappeared and it came back.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was kind of cool. So she her biggest experience that she talked about was the footsteps above the bar. And it was kind of funny because you and I were sitting at the bar. I think we were eating dinner, weren't we?
Mm-hmm.
And all of a sudden we heard the thud out of nowhere right above us.
Yeah.
And she seemed to think it might have been the wind, but I mean, it was windy that night, but I don't think it
had been something pretty big hitting the roof.
It's a flat roof, wasn't it, on that place? I think it's flat up top.
Could be.
Yeah.
I don't know. But there was another time, though, when we were back in the, I don't know what you want to call it, the banquet room, where the Elvis booth and that is.
Right.
That, I don't know if you were standing with us. I know I was by Jessica, and it sounded like we heard something run across the roof above us.
No, I didn't. I wasn't there. I heard the noise over in the corner. Remember, that's why I took the SLS camera and swung it around to that corner, and we got nothing. But we heard that noise back over. Nobody was standing there either. So,
yeah, it was really a bizarre night. Not a lot of action, but still enough to pique your curiosity to come back again.
Right.
Yeah, especially like that corner. And I know Vince had taken his K2 back there. I guess it was actually the millimeter that he was using, but because it measures the EMF. Oh, yeah, I just get tongue-tied so easily.
What episode was that? 6?
Well, that was... Was it 6? I think it was 6. Yeah.
Sorry.
Because it was out at Acadia.
Yes, it was Acadia. So yeah, it was episode 6.
EMF, you idiot. Okay.
We pulled out a meter right there, in their courtyard, whatever you want to call it, and the thing was pretty much going to 30 millivolts. So that was the EM issue. She seemed to be okay, but what about all these other poor idiots out there that are living in this complex, that this thing is affecting them and they're becoming aggressive to their spouse, and issues are happening. And EM does cause that stuff. It makes you become aggressive. So, it's kind of weird and kind of interesting. And, up at Skies, whoever's working back there, if they do have any type of sensitivity to EM, they might have a little bit of an issue, a little bit of a problem, maybe attitude. at work to the the owners, etc., taking orders and things like that. I don't know if they have a big turnover in the kitchen of personnel, but that might be something interesting to research with them and find out. I know she's only been there for a year, but still, it's kind of something to sort of keep in mind and look into. That EM in that kitchen, that could be causing a lot of what they are, some people are seeing in that area, the Apache guy, whatever the case may be. Because EM does produce hallucinations, and especially that was very, very high, where it wouldn't affect me, and I don't even think Pam walked into the kitchen, but if she did, she would have had a big issue in that area. She's very susceptible to EM. How that stuff goes. I know when you do conduit, normally they pull single strand wires through. It's coated. It's like PHHN or something like that, where it's got a plastic coating and it's stranded wire. And you got the red, and you got the black, and you got the white, and you got the green. Whatever's it's three-phase. I don't know how shielded that stuff is, but whatever's going on where that walkway is to go to the main kitchen, that stuff was becoming crazy.
Since all that energy is just kind of stuck there in the corner, it makes kind of sense that that's where
they feel everything.
They feel everything, and that's where the shadow of the Indian fellow likes to show up and
feed off that energy.
Yeah.
Well, we've heard stories in the past when we've played there. We've talked to other musicians, and they said, they've been on stage and their equipment would just shut off for no reason. And I mean, we've heard all kinds of stories over the years playing there.
Yeah.
So that's kind of makes sense. It's kind of in that area. So,
but we need a written history.
Yeah, it would be nice. We need to find a history on it.
A documented history of some sort.
One thing that happened, it happened to you and I. We were back in that hallway.
That's right.
That back door. We're standing by the back door while we were checking out the storage closet because we thought there's apartments that are on the second floor. And Jessica was telling us she thought that there was a stairway behind that door. So we cleaned out all the stuff out of the closet, only to be no stairway. But the interesting thing is when we were out in the hallway, the back door just opened like somebody walked through and then shut, casually shut. Didn't slam, nothing like that.
Yeah, it wasn't like the wind would do to a door.
Right.
Because that usually blows it open or it slams it shut. It just was like, Then it stayed open for a second, and I said, well, come on in.
Excuse me, pardon me. Coming through.
And then it went, and
just clapped. That was weird.
Yeah. Well, that was pretty funny.
But I was waiting for it to happen again, and it never happened again.
No, it didn't.
And the wind was consistent that night. So it's not like you can blame it. I can't blame it on the wind because it was the wind was constant the rest of that night.
And we're not the only ones that witnessed it because it happened to Vinny.
Happened to Vinny too. Yeah. Yep.
While he was back there too.
So we had a email interview with Stu, who is a 43-year patron of the Skies, and
he's seen some history.
He's definitely seen some history, that's for sure. So we asked him a series of questions, as we ask all our interviewees, I guess you would say. So one of the questions we asked was, can you share any cool or unknown facts about Skies history? And he states in there that I don't think it was a house of ill repute before I moved here. So maybe at one time it was.
Yeah, so he's not saying it wasn't one.
But
in his 43 years of patronage,
yeah,
it was never a brothel. Bordello.
I believe that was the term, bordello.
Yeah.
Have you ever had any personal experiences with ghosts at the Skies? And his answer was pretty fascinating, actually. He was sitting at the bar with Cricket, who used to be a bartender there. We knew Cricket. They were the only ones there. And while they were talking, a stool that was 4 seats to his left slid back a couple of inches, like somebody got up to leave, just kind of scooted back. And Cricket hollered, "Did you do that?" And he replied that he wasn't even close enough to touch it. And they both said, "Connie."
Oh, Connie.
Where's your creepy music?
Connie.
So We have the Indian cowboy, and then we have Connie.
And
Burnett,
I
Clayton.
wonder.
Is it Burnett?
You know what? Now that makes me wonder if your name was Burnett or Brunet. If you were to go by a nickname, what would you use?
I know where you're going with this.
That just dawned on me.
And what made you think of that, Joey?
Well, I was trying to figure out where Ben came from.
From the Spirit Box session.
From the Spirit Box session
At the Elvis booth.
at the Elvis booth. Back where both Karen and Pam got the initials of BP.
That's interesting. I didn't even put that together till now.
I didn't either. Ooh.
So that's okay. So that makes sense then. Yeah, because Ben did come up, and we'll actually put that footage of the Spirit Box up there a little bit for you guys to see.
It's a little dark.
Yeah, it's a little dark. Well, I have the night vision one too. We can throw up. As
okay,
well.
cool.
So, there just wasn't a lot of activity. I mean, and I think if you remember our first episode we did with Vince and the crew, he specifically said that. He said, sometimes you go somewhere and you'll get a lot of activity. Sometimes you'll spend all night and get nothing.
In the same location.
In the same location.
Yeah.
But it doesn't mean that nothing's there. Because obviously there's something going on.
Yeah. I mean, plenty of people have had different experiences.
Right.
So, and Vince did say he would welcome the opportunity to go back and, investigate again.
I think we should.
So, absolutely.
I really think we should. So Connie is an interesting name because we ran into a photograph
Yes, in the hallway.
in the back where the door opened by itself.
Yeah, that was cool. Maybe that was Connie.
It might have been Connie, might have been, or could have been the Duke too, because his picture was there.
That's true.
You never know. So yeah, some interesting coincidences there.
Yeah. It's like
Now, what were those? Because I was kind of absent for that whole little episode. What were the little rods that Pam was using? Because those things started going crazy at the Elvis booth.
Yeah. I've heard them called divining rods, but I think they called them dowsing rods. They kind of react to a magnetic field. I remember my grandfather using those to locate the pipes in his backyard. Had septic tank and all that stuff, but so I knew he would use those to go across the lawn, and then where they crossed, it was there's a magnetic force that was causing him to do that.
Right.
And so in using them in paranormal, they're going off that same science, I guess. There's a magnetic field from
The energy.
entity energy or whatever, that they can use them to kind of communicate. So
At one point, I thought Pam was going to take off. That thing started spinning around
yeah.
like crazy. I was like, holy cow.
yeah, who needs a drone? She's got
Right. Things started going nuts. And I tried them. I held them at the bar. And, they were spinning on their own. I wasn't doing it. I was just literally just holding them there. And they started whipping around like that. Not as fast as when Pam was having it. But I think also it correlated with Jessica being there, because when she was there and they were talking about her, that's when they started going crazy. But as soon as she got up and left, they stopped.
Yeah, and things quit coming through the spirit box too.
Yep.
Ben
stopped talking to her.
Ben Nernay.
I wonder. You got me curious about that.
Yeah, it's just curiosity.
It's interesting. We already talked about
Richard?
Richard, right? You talked about him before.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The only thing I didn't mention about Richard when I was reading his is he'd been going there for 20 years.
20 years, yeah. So half the time Stu's been there, but.
Yeah. And Richard was aware of Connie. Or at least he heard the stories.
Right.
So.
Heard rumors about Connie.
Rumors. At Connie. What kind of girl was Connie?
I don't know. Maybe
She was a rodeo girl, I think. Well, at least
according
if
to
it
the
was
picture.
if that was
the
the
same
Connie.
person we're talking about. It could be part of the bordello too. You never know. You don't know. You just don't. A lot of history there. You don't know.
None.
Maybe there's a reason that there is nothing recorded.
Maybe there's a force that doesn't want it to be known, huh?
Hence the reason the SLS video disappeared.
So I think that's pretty spooky.
That is creepy because the last couple of times we used the SLS, everything we recorded came out. So,
Yeah. Yeah, and it's the first time that any paranormal... Can I say that again? It's the first time that any paranormal group has been in there to do an investigation.
that's true. That is true. Yeah.
So sometimes them spirits, they'll be quiet until they realize that, hey, somebody's here to talk to us.
Play with me.
And then they get active and more active.
Yep.
It may take a couple times there.
That's true. So I see another visit in our future. Another investigation.
Yeah. You know who we need to bring?
Lindsay, where are you?
Well, Lindsay, absolutely. But
Oh, Brittany.
Brittany.
Brittany. Can you imagine Brittany and Lindsay? Forget it. The room's going to be lit up the whole friggin' night. Then you bring Jessica back too, and it'd be like a paranormal party.
Whoa. Where'd this little girl come from? And how did Abe Lincoln get in here?
Do I hear a candy?
Great.
Yeah. So here's a little footage from our sit down at the Elvis booth.
We'll call it the Elvis Booth session.
Can you tell us your name? Nora. Can you tell us your name? Nora. Can you tell us your name? Nora. I thought I heard. I thought I heard. I thought I heard Ben. Is there a Ben? Ben, how old are you?
Is that you, Ben, trying to make those up? Do it again. Keep going. Going crazy. See? Nothing's hurting you. Continue to try to communicate.
Ben, can you paint these little lights again? Make it go to red. They won't hurt you. Did you have a girlfriend then? No. A boyfriend? Did you have a girlfriend then? No. A boyfriend? Did you have a girlfriend then? No. A boyfriend then? Did you used to come to the brothel, Ben?
Is there somebody that you like to work at the brothel? You know her name? Okay. Is that Meg? Who did you like?
Got the name Ben.
You know Jessica, right? Starve. Starve.
Yeah, I think he likes Jessica. Oh my God. What's his name, Ben?
Yeah, I think it's Ben.
Is that your name, Ben?
Oh my God, just lit
up, so yeah, there you go. Ben, is that your name? Are you happy that I'm sitting here? Have you been here, Ben? You were a customer here with me? Yeah, for us, yes. Were we friends, Ben?
Ben, do you want your girlfriend to be Jessica? Yeah.
You like when Jessica's here at the bar?
Should we have a table that is reserved for you, all of the... Did one of y'all do that?
Did somebody make that noise?
Is anybody over there? Who's over there?
Something just
Something.
moved or sounded.
It sounded like the case moved.
Yeah, it sounded like somebody like moved that metal case right there.
Ben, was that you that made that sound?
Wow. What'd you think of that? We want to hear your comments. What do you think about Ben?
I think Ben might be Burnett or Burnett, whatever his name is.
That's
freaky.
Could be cool.
So we got BP from Karen and Wendy.
Mm-hmm.
Ben came through.
And it's all in the same area.
And you got the artist. Could be.
Wow.
That could be possibly the truth about beer and
Superstition Lucky Skies.
As far as we know.
Oh, till next time. Cheers.
Welcome to the truth about beer.